Welcome to Conversations in the Closet with your host, motivational speaker, fitness expert, and fashion guru, Theresa Roemer.
Good afternoon. It is Conversations in the Closet. It is Theresa Roemer here with my co-host, Michael Pearce.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, so you survived Turkey Day, right?
I did. I had my Tic Tac and my one little crouton, and I was done. How about you?
I wish I could just get by with a crouton and a Tic Tac. I swear to God, I saw that turkey and I went into convulsions. I was so excited.
I just sit next to turkey because I like being next to things that are fatter than me because it makes me feel skinny. So I'm always next to the big girl at the buffet. I'm like, look how skinny I look.
Oh, God. So on that note, change.
Oh, quarters, cents, nickels, dime, how much you need?
Well, change is an amazing thing, too, because, with Thanksgiving comes Christmas. With Christmas comes New Year's. And, a lot of people do a lot of things differently in their life once that New Year hits, But I'm not really talking about New Year's resolutions. I want to talk about change because I think all of us act differently to change.
That's very true.
Like there's people that eat when things change in their life. There's people that rejoice. There's people that go into depression and, hide. There's, people deal with change in many different ways.
Sign me up for all of that. Eating my feelings, sleeping in. Can you throw in some narcotic dependency? This sounds lovely. This sounds like a vacation. There's a holiday I want to go to. All right. What do I got to change to make it happen?
Well, have you ever had any change in your life that just scared the hell out of you?
All right, fine. I'll come out on this show. Just so you all know, I was originally born Michelle Pearce. No. I have lots of times that I've go through change. I'm going through the change right now. Some call it menopause, but I am aging. I'm changing. I've had career changes. I came out of the closet. I came out of rehab. My husband is very much like that. He cannot stand any sort of change. It doesn't matter. It could be good news, things that most people get excited about, like a really big job promotion, and he sort of freaks out and he goes into sort of what does this mean? War mode. I kind of lollygag hey, this is cool. What's going to happen now? I have no freaking idea. I get scared, but change doesn't freak me out as much as it used to.
Right, and that's what I'm talking about. Is change affects people in different ways. When change hits me, I wrap my arms around it and I run with it. And but there's some people when they deal with change, they shut down. They get horrified, terrified. They just are beside themselves, and I'll tell you a story once about some change in my life is, y'all remember that I owned health clubs back in the 90s and 2000s and stuff. And I was very hugely popular. Like everyone in the state knew who I was because I owned these amazing gyms and I put on bodybuilding shows and powerlifting meets, and I did my own radio commercials, my own TV commercials. Everyone knew who I was, right? So I could walk into any grocery store, somewhere to eat. Everybody would know, oh, it's Theresa, oh my God. It was like I was a celebrity, right? Well, I ended up selling my health clubs and everything, and I moved to this town and no one knew who I was. I was a nobody. Right?
Did you love that or hate that? What did you think?
No, it upset me so bad. Now, I didn't mind the change, like selling my health clubs and taking on another adventure. I was okay. I was okay with that. But I was so used to the limelight and being a celebrity and going everywhere and people knew who I was and so on and so forth, that suddenly I moved to this town and no one knew who I was. And I was so depressed over the fact that, I was like, I had lost my identity. Is what it was. And I remember being on the phone with my mom one time and I was crying and I was like, wow, I hate it here. Nobody knows who I am. And she said in a very sarcastic voice, she said, what? You mean they didn't put it in the front page of the newspaper that Theresa that Theresa was moving to this town and you should all know who she is? And, they're not banging your door down. And I'm like, no. And she's like, good God, get over yourself and get out there and meet people.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. You're right.
I would have put the front page. I think Mom was onto something. I think the front page would have been a good way. Like, y'all should know I'm here. Watch out. That's a good idea. Although I think I'm required by law to do that whenever I move in a neighborhood. I have to knock on doors and let people know that I live here. That's another topic.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, that particular change really upset me because I think I had lost my identity, like literally. That would be like some great actress or actor that's extremely well known, and they go to some foreign country and decide to live there, and nobody knows who they are. You get so used to being famous or whatnot that I think some people, it would put into a tailspin because they would be like, God, doesn't anybody know me? Now, some people might open that with open arms, and go, hallelujah, nobody knows who the hell I am, and I can just be myself, because there are those people that want that kind of freedom and privacy. But I think for the most part, I would have to say probably 95% of most famous people, if they really truly went somewhere or moved somewhere where no one knew who they were, it might be fun for a day or a week or two, maybe a month. But I think after a while, they would be very depressed.
Mm-hmm. Well, you actually hit on something really interesting there. I think you could even relate to somebody who isn't famous. Like, think about how many parents who make their identity in raising their kids, and they've identified themselves as I'm a mom, and then that kid goes away to college, or somebody whose identity is I am whatever my career is, and then there's a layoff. If you've made your identity in one thing, and then there's a change there, you're going to have a mourning and a natural depression and those 7 signs of, I don't know, acceptance. I've never done any of those. I medicate myself right to the last one, but I hear it's a real pain in the butt when you work through them. But anybody who's had their identity tied to one facet of their life can absolutely relate to that.
Right. And you've heard it as well as I have, the mother that has wrapped herself so much into their child's life that when that child finally goes off to college or whatever, that mother doesn't know what to do with herself. She's like, I mean, like they literally want to go to college with the kid. Because
my mom was not like that at all. She had my room remodeled, but while I was filling out the applications, she was already remodeling. Are you still here?
My mother was so excited to get rid of us that on my graduation day, I got a set of luggage.
That's awesome.
It was like, okay, you're done. Get out.
It's already packed.
I was like, why am I getting luggage? And she's like, pack it, go now, out.
That's all. See, but that's probably why you're so independent. And maybe that's why you're not so afraid of change, is you've gone through these periods where you're like sort of thrown out there. You're like, okay, I can reinvent. So it's a very empowering moment when you embrace your fears and you tackle them. You are no longer afraid of them. That's how we grow as humans.
And just like, I mean, you're right. I am not afraid to reinvent myself every time I turn around. I can remember after my divorce, I had to reinvent myself. I mean, so like I said, there are certain things in life that certain people just literally become paralyzed when change happens, such as a divorce or a death or a job change or whatever. And then there's people like me, and I'm going to say you too.
I hope.
Because I think I know you that well, that we welcome change with open arms, and we look at it as a new adventure and a new chapter in our life instead of being terrified of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you and I are kind of alike where it doesn't terrify us. I mean, we might get scared for 2 seconds, but then we're over it and we're like, okay, bring it. I can do this.
I actually have a funny story, not quite to the caliber that you have of like moving to a new town and no one knew who you were, because Lord knows I haven't had that problem. But I did go out of town to another city to attend a black tie event, and this is great because I thought no one's going to know who I am, and I was excited about it. Unlike you, I wasn't depressed. Like, this is great. So I made up this whole persona that I was a porn actor who was living on the run because I killed a bunch of truckers on the way. And like I made up this whole backstory. I said I was related to Robert Durst. But I got busted halfway through the dinner because somebody knew me. Damn you, Facebook.
Well, see, now that
it can be fun.
That's what happens when you put yourself out there so much on Facebook that you can't even go to another town and people will recognize you.
It's that damn porn website coming back to haunt me. But I love your message that change is not necessarily something to be afraid of. It's something to, if you look at what the opportunity is, because no matter what happens in your life, there's going to be a negative side to it. There's going to be a downside, but there's always a way that you can learn something from it. There's something you can grow from, or some way to make it into a positive. Just like, friends of ours who've lost loved ones and turned them into foundations. No matter what the situation in front of you, there's a way that you can make some good come out of it. And if you can look for those things, then you have hope and you can find ways to move forward. Otherwise, you're stuck struggling in it. And that gets you nowhere.
Right. And like you said, life changes every day. And you can either sit alongside the road and let life pass you by, or you can open your arms up, accept those changes, and deal with the changes that life throws you every single day too. I mean, like, there's only two sure things in life. One is death and one is taxes. I mean, like, that's really the only for sure things that happen in life. Everything else is a constant change, or a constant, it's just evolving and changing every single day. And I feel really bad for those people, like, just recently, our TV, our house was showcased on TV again, even yesterday, for being for sale, and people just constantly look at me and go, how can you move so much? Like, God, I mean, like, I would just be terrified if I had to leave my house. I've lived here for 20 some years. And I personally think when somebody says that, I'm like, are you kidding me? How can you live in the same house for 20 some years? I would be so bored with that house. I would have remodeled it at least 15 times by then, I mean, like, so even my daughter, she's like, Mom, but how could you leave that closet? I mean, like, it's a famous closet. How can you leave it? And I'm like,
wait do you see the next one? Wait do you see the next one? That's why.
Exactly. I'm like, well, wait till you see the next one. I said, with every house I've ever lived in, we've created memories in that house, but the house is just a house. It's a material thing that I can just give up, go away, and find another one. I mean, like, to me, it's just a material thing. I don't wrap myself so much into the house or the car or whatever it is that I can't live without it.
Yeah. The value is not in the brick and mortar. The memory's in it, and that's not tied to the house. I'm with you on that. I actually get bored of our houses. As soon as I finished whatever the model is or getting it to where I want, I'm like, I'm done with it. And then we sell them. I'm like, I'm happy to move. I don't like anything sticking the same for too long.
Right. I mean, like, in this neighborhood that we live in, we're on our third house just in this neighborhood. And our very first house that we had in this neighborhood, we actually got married in the backyard. It was, it literally looked like we were married in the Caribbean, but even then my daughter was like, how can you move out of this house? You got married here. And I'm like, you're right. I got married here. I have photos. I have memories, but I'm not going to live here the rest of my life. I'm like, so it's just interesting because I can give away clothes. I can give away cars and houses. I mean, like, there's not a materialistic thing that I can't part with.
I don't know. There's a couple of shoes back there I know you're really close to. So I know whenever I go real too close there, like, her blood pressure gets a little higher. It'll be as much like, back away from the lubes, Pearce. Back away.
Well, I'm safe with you because your feet don't fit in my shoes.
No, I got these big old clown hopper feet. It's ridiculous.
No, you have man feet.
I couldn't walk in those shoes. I tried for Rocky Horror, and those things were like costume shoes. I have no idea how the hell you walk in those things. They're like 14 feet, like heels. I have no idea. They're stilts. But I digress.
So
I want to ask you a question on the note of all the big changes you've had. What's the one that comes to mind that you're most proud of? Because you've had a lot of big reinventions in your life. What one pops up that you're really proud of?
Wow, that's a loaded question because I feel like with every achievement I've done in life, it's been great and fantastic and fabulous. And I don't think any one of them ever outdoes the other one. But I do have to say that when I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro for the charity Child Legacy International, and we raised $100,000 that year, I'd have to say that was a pretty big accomplishment that I can probably almost say that not everybody does or has done.
No.
But even standing on the stage and winning the U.S. Open in bodybuilding, you're standing on a stage practically naked except for this little tiny bikini. I'd have to say that was pretty big.
That's huge.
Because not everybody does that either. So
Times
Yeah.
Square. Don't throw that one out because
Standing naked in Times Square.
Mhm.
Yeah. That not everybody does that one either. So yeah, you're right. I mean, I would have to say, I don't think any one of them outdoes the other one, but they're all very important.
Let me ask you a follow-up question. If you could talk to your teenage self, like your 13-year-old self, because girls, when they get at that younger age, are going through identifying who they are as a woman and their place in the world and community, and there's all this sort of nervousness, this excitement, hope of the future, and nervousness. What would you say to your young teenage self now, looking back at that time?
Embrace change. Embrace it. Because with every ounce of change that has happened in my life, I have grown from it. I've gotten better from it. I think I'm a better person because of all the change that's happened to me in my life. So if there's one thing I could tell anybody, it's embrace change, because it's always for the better.
Wait, this isn't a setup where you're about to tell me that you're going to have somebody else coming and doing these talks with you in the closet. I'm not being replaced, am I? This is just a big setup to say,
Okay.
It's been lovely working with you, Michael. We have a new gay. Is that what this is?
No, I mean, like, there are certain things I will never change. And I don't like to use the word never, because sometimes you eat crow, but I could never replace my co-host, Michael Pearce, because
you heard it there, folks.
because I think you and I are like yin and yang, I just feel like each of us could finish each other's sentences, and we mix well, and you're my yin and I'm your yang, and no, I feel like we're brothers and sisters from different misters.
What's that, sister from another mister? Is that how that goes? I never know.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's not anything for you to worry about.
All right, I'm safe. Well, can we go back to talking about change your younger self? And I just had to get that out there. I was a little worried.
So let's reverse that question.
Oh God.
Oh.
Okay. All right. I'm not used to answering questions. We attorneys ask them. We don't really answer them. But all right, I'll give it a shot. Which one do you want me to answer?
The same question you asked me. If you were a younger version of yourself, the teenage version, what would
I would say stop wasting time giving a shit about what people think. I wasted so much of my life worrying about that I didn't look like it was in magazines, that I was gay and that was a bad thing, that who liked me and who didn't like me, or what I wore, or what I had so much time worrying about all these other people's things. And now that I'm getting older, it's so liberating to not give up expletive. We don't have a bleep button, but we should. That would be my advice. Stop wasting that time, because I'm a much happier person. I'm a much healthier person not caring about that. So, but I had to go through a lot of breakdowns and change, like you said, to get to that point.
Right.
Stop caring.
Right. And you know me, I've always been that person that I walk to the beat of my own drum. I really don't care what people think. It's like, you know what, this is the one thing that God gave me in my life is my life, and so I feel like as long as I'm not breaking the law or hurting anyone, I can do with my life whatever I want to do with my life. And you're right, quit wasting the time and your energy worrying about what other people think, because you're not telling them how to live their life, so they shouldn't be concerned about how you're living your life.
Amen.
So I guess the takeaway here is that we should embrace change. We shouldn't be scared of it. And because it's part of life. It just happens every single day. Just when you get used to life, it can change in a heartbeat, and that as well as I do, like last week with my husband, with the AFib in his heart and everything, in an instant, life can change. So you need to embrace change, welcome it, embrace it.
Give it a hug, give it a nice coffee, sit down, pop a Xanax together, enjoy the ride, because it's coming whether you like it or not.
And guess what? The two for sure things in life is taxes and death. So guess what? We're all going to die, people. We are, it's going to happen. But while we're here, you just got to make the best of it and have fun and
wear nice shoes nice shoes
and make memories, memorable memories, wonderful memories. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. Just remember that you can find me everywhere out there in social media. Definitely find my YouTube channel and subscribe to it. The videos on there are hilarious. We're vlogging all the time. I'm definitely out there on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest. I saw you looking at my Pinterest.
I did. I'm pinning away.
And also, you can find Michael Pearce out there too. And almost every picture I have in my life has got Michael Pearce in it.
I'm the really loud, obnoxious one with his mouth open, looking like he's catching flies.
I only aspire to be you, Michael.
Aim higher, my dear friend. Aim higher.
And as skinny as you are too.
God love you for that. Let's end right there on that. That's the best ending ever of any podcast we've ever done.
That I want to be as skinny as you?
You called me skinny. All I heard was skinny. I didn't hear anything else.
Skinny and good looking.
There you go. Oh my God, look at that. It's like Christmas come early.
So with that said, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.
You've been listening to Conversations in the Closet. We will return again same time next week. Brought to you by NI30D Athletics.